Welcome participants as you log in and join us. We're going to get started in just a few minutes here. If you want to go ahead and in the chat box, just go ahead and drop your name and where you're joining us from, maybe the county or school that you attend, whether you're a student or parent, and we'll just wait for our other participants to join us. All right, looks like we have a few participants joining us still. I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll. At the very beginning of this, we like to just see who's joining us here. So it'll just basically let us know what grade you're in, or maybe you're a parent joining us. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this now. If everybody here could go ahead and complete that for me, please. All righty, got some participants filling that out. Thank you. All right, just another few more seconds and then we'll close that poll out. Second question is, what GSA art forms are you interested in? Of course, everybody here selected film and photography, but looks like we have a few students that may also be interested in a few other art forms. That's awesome. So we will be talking about film and photography this evening. All right, great. Well, thank you for your participation in that. I want to go ahead and introduce myself and we'll go ahead and get started here. So my name is Dean Allen Muir. I am the GSA Alumni Coordinator. I am also a 2005 Musical Theater GSA alum. So today we are here to meet two faculty members from film and photography, and we're going to chat with them about what GSA looks like specifically for the film and photography application. At the end of our presentation today, we will have some time for question and answers. So you can feel free to use the Q&A function that we have in Zoom here, not the chat box, but there's actually the Q&A one. You can go ahead and enter your questions in there throughout the presentation. And then at the end of the webinar today, we'll go through and make sure all of those questions get answered. All right. And then I do just want to take a moment to go ahead and introduce our two faculty members joining us today. Just ask them to go ahead and say hello, give us their name and what they do with GSA. So why don't we go ahead and start with Mr. James Kenney.
Good afternoon. I'm James Kenney. I teach at Western Kentucky University, and I'm the photography portion of the film plus photography discipline at GSA. Just really happy to be here and hope you have a lot of good questions. I know you will, and looking forward to meeting some of you.
And my name is Will Cravens. I am the faculty chair for F&P, Film and Photography. I'm a filmmaker and a photographer in Louisville, Kentucky. I think this is my 7th year with GSA, so I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. So yeah, it's good to be here.
Great. Well, welcome, James and Will, and thank you again for joining us. And we are going to go ahead and dive on in. So what you'll be seeing now is just a breakdown of our series of virtual events that we have. So as you'll see, we've already had a few GSA 101 webinars pass. We do still have 2 more of those coming up on November 14th and December 1st. And these are virtual sessions, again, for parents, educators, applicants, just for you to take advantage of all the resources that we have so you can ask any questions you have throughout this application process. As you're pretty aware, our application portal opened on October 6th, and all of our applicant guides and the application walkthrough video are available on our website. And we will be doing these art form specific webinars with our adjudicators through the 18th. And if you are curious in any other of the webinars, we do have those recordings also uploaded to our Facebook page. And then, of course, if you want to contact us directly with any questions related to any art form, we have our phone number here for you. The quickest way to hear back from us and get a hold of us is actually to email us. And that email address is gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. It's our job to help you out, and we love doing it. So no question is too small or too silly. Please just ask it and reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And of course, you can follow us on social media. On Facebook and Instagram is where we do update the most. So diving right on into just reviewing exactly what everybody's here for, right, which is the GSA summer program. It's a 3-week residential summer program that takes place on a college campus. Students attend GSA for one of 9 art forms, and the program is completely tuition-free if you are accepted as a student, which is amazing. Students are immersed in an intense, challenging, and exhilarating learning environment in one of their 9 art forms. And while each student focuses on the one art form you're attending GSA for, interdisciplinary collaboration is a huge component of the program, meaning that students are also exposed to and engaged with other art forms other than their own. So if you haven't heard, we recently doubled the size of our summer program for the next 3 years, thanks to special funding provided by Kentucky Department of Education. So we expect to take approximately 512 students again for the summer of 2023, which is very, very awesome. Students must currently be a sophomore or junior to apply for GSA. Unlike some other summer programs, we do not take GPA or standardized test scores into consideration. You may apply for up to 2 art forms, and there is an application fee of $30 or $35 if you're applying for 2. But this fee is waived if you qualify for free or reduced lunch. And that is as simple as checking a box on your application, no questions asked. All of the information for the application and the process will be found on our website at www.kentuckygsa.org. So just be sure to read the applicant guide for each art form that you're applying in. We're going to be reviewing the film and photography applicant guide today as part of our session here. But be sure to go back and go over that yourself. And just start preparing and uploading your materials nice and early. Like I said, the application's been live for just over a month now, so you've still got some time until the January 8th deadline to go over and review any of those materials. And speaking of the deadline here, so the 2023 GSA application is due by end of day, January 8th. Please note that this is on a Sunday, and our office here at GSA is not open on the weekend. So if you have any questions or any last minute needs, make sure you reach out to us before that Friday, January 6th, as we will not be checking our email or anything on that weekend that it's due. The earlier you can get in your application, the better, but you do have until January 8th. After we have closed the deadline, all finalists will find out on February 7th, about a month before our final round auditions and reviews take place. The GSA final round auditions will be March 17th and 18th. Depending on art form, this may be in person or virtual. We do have a hybrid format this year still. Full details are available in each applicant guide again. And then on April 14th, is when we will announce the class for GSA 2023, in addition to any alternate students that we may have listed. And then, of course, the dates for GSA 2023 this summer are the first session will take place June 11th to July 1st, and our second session will be taking place July 9th to July 29th. So that is our GSA 2023 program in a nutshell, the application timeline and everything. Just going to put this back up here real quick again, just in case you want to jot down our office number or our email address where you can ask us any questions that you may have. All right. Now, do we have any initial questions off the bat here? I don't see any in the Q&A, which is fine. Just want to make sure that you do know you have access to that. All righty. Well, then we can go ahead and hop on over to our film and photography applicant guide. All right, so the GSA 2023 applicant guide for film and photography. Give you a brief description here, so I'll go through this with you. GSA's film and photography program focuses on visual communication through photography and film/videography. Students in the program learn a wide variety of technical material and approaches, with a documentary focus for photography balanced by writing, directing, and producing their own films. In addition to instruction and studio time split between still photography and film production videography, students participate in workshops and demonstrations conducted by guest artists and take field trips to put their knowledge to work. Students discuss and critique their works in progress and that of their classmates as part of the studio experience. Faculty members also discuss professional careers in the field and coach students in the preparation of their portfolios. Student work is displayed in a public exhibition on the final day of our program. So again, the preliminary round requirements are due January 8th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are Central Time, make a mental note of that for us, that that'll be due by 10:59 p.m. for you. And you will need to submit the materials in this section online through Accepted no later than that date. For the preliminary round, you will submit the following: 2 recommendation forms, a personal short essay, a personal question video, art form specific questions, portfolio images and videos, and a portfolio cover sheet. So the first thing that we ask you do is to get your 2 recommendation forms taken care of. So what you want to do is identify 2 people who will complete recommendation forms in support of your GSA application, and each person will complete the same form separately. A note that we have in here, previous GSA application cycles have required recommendations from a teacher and a school administrator. The recommendation guidelines have changed in recent years to broaden the scope of who may complete these forms. So just to go over those new guidelines below. The recommendation form includes questions about your artistic abilities and potential, how you contribute to your learning environment and community, and your overall fit for GSA. If you can select 2 recommenders who can speak to your artistic abilities, we encourage you to do so. However, we understand not every applicant will have 1 or 2 recommenders who have experienced the student's artistry. In this case, select recommenders who can speak to your character, accountability, and/or work ethic. Recommenders can be teachers from inside or outside of your school in any subject, school administrators such as a guidance counselor, other mentors or other people involved in your personal or artistic development, such as a coach, youth minister, or staff at an organization for which you volunteer. You will enter the names and email addresses for each recommender in your online application, and then those individuals will receive emails instructing them on how to complete the recommendation form, which will only take about 5 minutes. Before you submit your recommender's information, we strongly encourage the following. First, inform them that you are applying for GSA and you would like to list them as a recommender. Tell them they will complete a short form via email and that their responses are confidential. Not even you, the student, will have access to them. And of course, ask them if they have any questions about GSA and/or your desire as to why you're applying. The second thing you want to do with them is confirm what email address you should list for them. Please double check that you have the correct spelling. Submit your recommender's information as soon as possible so they have plenty of time to complete the forms prior to January 8th. After you have submitted their information, we strongly encourage the following. Tell your recommenders to check their email. The email will come from do-not-reply@getaccepted.com, and it will be titled Documentation Request from your name for Kentucky Governor's School for the Arts. Then ask them to confirm with you when they have submitted that form. Of course, thank them once they have. If they have not received the form, ask them to check their junk folder and ensure that you have entered their email address correctly in the application. If for whatever reason that email address was entered incorrectly, just contact us here at GSA and we can get that corrected for you. Once you have submitted your recommenders information, you will have to click back into your profile to access the remainder of the application. On accepted, they will refer to this next section as application part 2. Few more notes about the recommendations. No letters of recommendation are needed, nor should you submit any. Recommenders simply need to complete the form that they receive via email from accepted. Applicants are not able to review the context of their recommendation. Applicants' parents or immediate family may not fill out recommendation forms. While we encourage you to secure the best recommenders possible within the guidelines listed, know that we rely on your personal application materials, essays, artistic work, etc., as the primary tools to assess your fit for GSA. Recommenders have the option to choose unknown if they are not aware of the answer to a question, and this will not be held against you as an applicant. If you are applying for 2 art forms, please keep in mind that if you're using the same recommenders, they will still need to complete 2 forms, 1 for each art form, even if their answers are identical. So regardless of whether it's the same answer, same recommender, if you're applying for 2 art forms, they will need to do 1 recommendation for each art form application. All right. Next thing that you'll want to move on to is your personal short essay. The following is the essay question this year. How can or why should the art form that you are applying in be of importance to your community or society as a whole? Of course, we want you to be open, honest, and authentic in your response. This is really an opportunity for you to let us learn something about you. We ask that you upload the essay response as a document file. So type out the question at the top of your response so that the question and the answer are both in the document. And please keep in mind that the question restatement does not count towards your word count limit. And when uploading your essay, please title the file Personal Short Essay. The next component of your application will be the personal question video, which has a 90-second maximum on it. And the question for the video essay is, why is the art form you are applying for important to you? What are your goals for yourself as an artist in this art form? Provide an answer that is specific to the art form for which you are applying for. So in this case, if it were film and photography, you'd want to respond accordingly. Again, be open and honest and authentic in your response. While you are encouraged to prepare your thoughts before shooting the video and you may consult notes as you speak, please do not just read off of a transcript. We want to get a sense of your personality. So maybe rehearse it a few times, maybe take a few takes on your video that you do catch yourself reading and go back and watch it. And then once you feel a little more comfortable and a little more calm and you can really let that personality shine through, I'm sure that'll be the best video take for you. You'll want to make sure that you begin your video by stating, hello, my name is, record your answer in an interior space that is free from interruptions, background noise and everything. And please do not edit or splice the video. We do not need you to include an introductory frame or any effects such as fades, nothing fancy. Please shoot straight on, leaving the camera in one location. Review the video to ensure you can be seen and heard. Very important that we can hear what you're saying. And ensure that your video plays all the way through to the end. And when uploading your personal question video, please title the file Personal Question Video. All right. The next component will be art form specific questions, in which applicants will be asked questions about their specific interests in their art form and their level of access to training, classes, and lessons in said art form. Applicants can review the specific questions for their art form once they have submitted their recommender information. Keep in mind there are no right or wrong answers for these questions, nor are we looking for one profile of a student over another. Rather, we ask these questions to understand the applicant in the fullest context possible. And the last component in this section will be the portfolio files. So you'll have your film and photography portfolio must contain 10 total works. You will upload your portfolio pieces into the application under Upload Portfolio. So the first 5 works of your portfolio will be the 5 required works. Your submission must include 4 photographs without extreme Photoshop alterations and 1 film of any length or genre. If you have not created a film before, remember your submission can be short, simple, and shot with readily available equipment such as a smartphone. Use your artistic perspective to create something you find interesting and include elements of the criteria, which we'll discuss later, in your work. We would rather see someone's first film they've ever made than not see them apply at all. So don't let that hold you back. You may submit films that are collaborations with others, but you must explain your specific role in the film. For instance, were you the camera operator, were you the director, etc. And you'll want to make sure that you include that on your portfolio cover sheet, right? The 5 remaining works in your portfolio can consist of a variety of media, including additional film or video work, such as a documentary, narrative, music video, or maybe shorts that you've shot. Additional still photography, again, without extreme Photoshop alterations. Scripts for movies and or storyboards. Audio files. Any relevant digital art. This includes, but is not limited to, computer-generated music, altered images, or designs. And please no more than 2 non-photographic prints, drawings, paintings, and or 3D works that reflect your approach to film and or photography. All right. And then before we go on to this next little section, is there anything extra faculty that you would like to add to the required or the remaining works of that portfolio submission?
I think you covered it pretty well. I think I would emphasize, and reiterate that, yeah, getting your recommendation forms out early is recommended, just so that they have plenty of time. And I would also recommend that, you select people who know you personally, or at least know you as an artist, so that they can speak to your qualities, and your interests and all that sort of thing as an artist.
And I would add that as far as your portfolio goes, really try to show the breadth of your work. I think that's really important. Sometimes you might get kind of infatuated with a certain, maybe a certain theme, and that's okay. And if you feel like, that is your strongest work, then go for it. But if you've got a lot of different kinds of work and you like it all, I would consider that certainly, to show your versatility. I think that can really be a strength in a portfolio.
Thank you. And we did have one question pop up. Is there a certain length for the video entries? This student has some videos that are 15 minutes long, etc.
No length requirements or preferences from us. We trust you guys to edit your films, edit your videos, to the length that you think lends itself to the story the best.
Great. Thank you. All right, so we'll dive right back into our guide here. So for all your submitted work, if your work is not already digital, digitize it by taking a digital photo or scanning it, then upload that file into the application. When uploading, please verify that each image is upright, not sideways. And if film, please ensure that it plays smoothly and through to the end. Save and name your files individually so they correspond to the pieces and titles as listed on your portfolio cover sheet. So the first piece listed on your cover sheet should be saved as 01_title. Your second piece is 02_ title, and so on. For multiple image files detailing one work or idea, so multiple angles of a 3D piece, let's say, title images is O1 title, O1 title _2. So basically you're saying it's still piece number 1, and this is the title, but this is number 2 of it, and number 3 of it. All right, so with the portfolio cover sheet, this is the one document that should outline all portfolio pieces uploaded as part of your application. Please note file naming instructions that we just covered so that your uploaded images correspond with the pieces listed on this sheet. So for each work, please include the following: the title of the work, the year of completion, the medium. Please specify if a work is audio only, just so we know that there's not supposed to be video attached to that. The length, if film or audio, and a very brief description of your process for creating this work. If the work is a collaboration, please describe your role in the project. Please make sure to save this portfolio cover sheet as a document file and upload it into your application. All right. All right, so we're going to go on and review the final round requirements. So some applicants will be invited to participate in the final round of GSA auditions and reviews, which will consist of the elements described below. All applicants will be notified on February 17th of whether they are invited to the final round. The final round auditions and reviews for film and photography are on March 17th and 18th and will be virtual. The final round for film and photography will include a pre-review questionnaire, as well as a virtual portfolio review and interview. So for that pre-review questionnaire, which will be due via Accepted, applicants who advance into the final round will be forwarded to a new section of their application in Accepted called Application Part 3. This new part of the application will include a short questionnaire, which may cover a range of topics, including your previous experience in your art form, your favorite artists, and/or your college and career goals. This questionnaire is not a quiz and it is not scored, but it is a way for the adjudicators to get to know you. The questionnaire may be used to customize questions for your interview. So going right on to the virtual portfolio review and interview, adjudicators will lead a brief conversation with each applicant about their portfolio and artistic motivations. This is an opportunity for the student to verbally express the qualities of their work as well as their personal artistic perspective. Finalists do not need to have on hand the portfolio pieces submitted for the preliminary round application. Adjudicators will review and utilize what the applicant included in their initial GSA application on Accepted for the conversation. Although applicants should be prepared to talk about their work and may benefit from having the work or images of the work within view for their own reference when possible. The duration of the portfolio review interview will vary at the adjudicator's discretion, but will most likely last no longer than 15 minutes. Finalists will receive the time and date and Zoom link for their review, and this will be sent through Accepted messaging system. All right. So we've talked about deadlines, we've talked about the reviews. Now let's talk about the actual criteria. So the work of each student will be given an objective review by the adjudicators as to how they fulfill each of the following criteria. First up, we have use of formal elements. An ideal applicant exhibits successful use of art elements such as line, value, shape, forms, space, color, texture, as well as sound and time, if work is video or audio. And the applicant uses these elements to create structure and meaning and can speak to how they have done so. Next part of the criteria, use of design principles and sense of composition. An ideal applicant utilizes design principles such as balance, contrast, rule of thirds, orientation, perspective, pattern and framing in their work to guide their use of the formal elements and organization of the piece. The applicant uses these principles to create impact and meaning and can speak to how they have done so. Technical skill. An ideal applicant demonstrates practice skill and developed technique, as well as an awareness of the specific tools, processes, and approaches required by the specific media being used. For example, shutter speed, aperture, video and or sound editing, image manipulation, etc. This does not necessarily mean each piece requires an extremely detailed finished quality, but rather that each piece is crafted in a way that is connected to ideas and materials, equipment, and media. Artistic voice and originality. An ideal applicant's work is consistently approached from a personalized viewpoint, background, or experience. Even if the work is the product of an assignment, it reveals an individual or unique point of view or desire. The applicant can identify and explain how their individuality and perspective are evident across the portfolio. Storytelling and narrative choices. An ideal applicant tells a constructed story through their work. The applicant can express how the story supports and conveys their artistic intention. And finally, dedication to art form, growth, and community. An ideal applicant demonstrates a commitment to and passion for their art form, as well as a desire and ability to grow as an artist. The applicant can thoughtfully explain why they want to attend GSA and how they are uniquely qualified to contribute to a robust, diverse community of artists. All right. Any notes or tips on the criteria from faculty before we move down to the actual tips in the applicant guide?
Yes. I will just start by saying that it may sound, depending on your level of experience, a bit overwhelming to hear all of the things you have to submit and the criteria, and the details of the criteria. But I'll just emphasize that a lot of the criteria are inherent in the works themselves, and they don't necessarily have to be planned. Every photograph has a composition and exposure and some of those elements. So I would not stress over making sure that you're checking all the boxes of every single. Again, a lot of it is inherent in the work, but that said, the more that you take those into account, or become aware of them as you create your works, I think the more that your work will improve over time. So for the application, keep those criteria in mind and do your best.
I would agree. I think this is good as a guide, but pictures are going to all fit exactly into that criteria, but it's a great guide. It gives you an idea of what we're looking at, what anybody would be looking at in terms of the work. But we also like to be surprised too. So sometimes you might do something that goes off script a bit, and it's like, this is kind of cool, this is different. So
yeah, I would say that the idea of the portfolio and having so many options and that sort of thing is so that we can get to know you as an artist, and to offer you some flexibility in demonstrating that to us. And that's why we offer so many things. And but the criteria are there for a reason. So you use your best judgment to have some diversity in your work, while also we find art as an expression of our own honest and authentic selves. So use the application as an opportunity to explore that as well. And hopefully, we get to know you a little better and understand you as an artist. So to sum that up, I would rather see work that you find meaningful with emotional value and is important to you than a lot of pieces that maybe you're not connected to, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Great, thank you both. All right, so let's go on to some tips that we've got in this guide for you. And again, just kind of echoing what James just said, these tips are suggestions. They are not eligibility requirements for admittance to GSA. So some tips that we have are to include work completed outside of school and school projects. Diversify your portfolio with a mix of mediums. We want to know your interest and involvement in various mediums. Include recent work in your portfolio. Be prepared to talk about the ideas that went into a particular work. Be prepared to discuss the process of making your art and why you made certain choices, right? What's the rhyme to the reason? Be prepared to talk about why you are interested in film and photography and why you are interested in attending GSA. Be prepared to discuss what you wish to get out of GSA and your strengths and challenges in your specific art form. Be prepared to discuss the work of other artists you admire and why their work inspires you. Pay close attention to the adjudication criteria. So again, while GSA students are accepted based on their holistic identity as a young artist, the criteria are the foundation of how your materials are being scored. And of course, always remember the adjudicators are very excited to see your work and they want you to do well. We know it takes hard work to submit this application and that it can be scary to put yourself out there, right? But we have faith in you. So put your best foot forward and don't be afraid to show us the wonderful artist that you are. You prove a level of dedication just by submitting your application and you should be proud of yourself. All right, so again, we're just gonna go cover this application timeline and deadlines, and then we'll be able to start moving into some final notes and some question and answers. So again, friendly reminder, January 8th is when the GSA application is due. It must be submitted via accepted by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, we encourage you to submit early and not to wait until the last minute. The application portal does kind of run slowly when we have a huge influx of many people trying to upload at once. February 17th is when the GSA finalists will be announced. You will be notified whether you advance to the final round of adjudication. Those who have advanced to the final round will also be given the instructions on how to complete application part 3 on accepted. Then March 17th and 18th will be the final round auditions and reviews. As we discussed, film and photography will be virtual on those days. So really don't have to pay attention for this art form. University of Kentucky is where the physical ones will take place for other art forms. Again, film and photography is virtual. And then on Friday, April 14th is when we will have the official announcement of the GSA 2023 accepted students as well as alternates. So all finalists will be notified of whether they have been accepted into the summer program. Alternates will also be listed. In addition, accepted students will be sent their assigned summer session. Just some notes on here that the first session is Sunday, June 11th to Saturday, July 1st. And our second session of GSA 23 will be July 9th to July 29th. We have some information at the bottom of this applicant guide. If you run into any issues with accepted, we have their contact information, their 888 number can help you out, or their email address. And of course, if you have any questions for us specifically here at GSA, we have our office hours listed there for you, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern Standard. Our lovely email address, like I said, please utilize that and send us as many questions as you have, gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. And of course, our helpline phone number is on there as well. So that, my friends, is the film and photography applicant guide in a nutshell, the timeline of GSA 2023 and everything. So at this point, I guess I'd like to turn it over to the faculty real quick and see if maybe we could get, let's see, I've got a few questions that we could lead with. What would your final words of advice be to the students that we have joining us today?
Just do it. You gotta get it in. You gotta participate to win. And just the experience of doing the application and stuff, which seems a little intimidating, but once you start taking it step by step, it's pretty straightforward. Be methodical, don't wait to the last minute, but definitely do it because it's the only way you're going to know. And just the experience of submitting your application, as I think Dean said, that says something in and of itself. So yeah, just do it.
I agree, 100%. I would also just add that, you know, I've found in my career, like as an artist, it's a lifelong journey, and GSA is, you know, one of the opportunities that you might have. It is a fantastic, just excellent community to grow as an artist. And so what I will say is the application part itself is, you know, fairly solitary. You're working diligently to get your materials together and that sort of thing. But then you can kind of come out on the other side and be a part of this bigger community. So it's worth the effort to put in. So.
Awesome, thank you. All right, let's see. So participants, again, if you're a student or if you're a parent joining us, everyone is welcome to submit any questions that you may have. I do have one question on here. For taking photos, can they take them on a phone, or does it have to be with a professional camera?
Well, I think I would answer that with saying that there are some pretty amazing pictures taken on a phone. I would say, like your portfolio, try to use everything you got and then some. You know, most of you at school, even if you don't have a mirrorless or DSLR, something that can change lenses and that kind of thing, that opens up a whole nother world of possibilities. And so I would be, you know, if you're not already, borrowing those things, finding some excuse to tell your advisor that you absolutely need the camera this weekend or whatever. But, you know, play with those things if you don't have them already, because it just opens up possibilities. I would say overall, it's getting less and less now, but overall, the quality of an iPhone just is not going to match a good DSLR or a good mirrorless. Now, looking at the iPhone 14 and some of the, you know, they're getting pretty good. And they even have different lenses, not the kind of versatility that you would with your other cameras, but, you know, with DSLR or the mirrorless. But, you know, you do have to think about that in terms of overall quality with an iPhone, especially when you go outside of ideal light, which we oftentimes deal with, you know, inside work, anything that we're doing inside. Low light is not necessarily bad light, it's just low. But some of the iPhones don't always, especially the older ones, just don't handle that well. So you got to think about technical quality in this. But great pictures are made with, you know, with instant cameras. You know, great pictures have been made. I do an assignment in my college course where they have to get one of those, you know, mail-in type of cameras at Walmart. And, you know, the whole purpose of it is to strip away all the equipment talk and I need this and I need this lens or whatever, and just think about content, think about composition, think about light. So that's kind of a long answer, but I think it in a nutshell, it's like if you've made a great picture with your iPhone, submit it. Just allow yourself to explore all sorts of different equipment that, you know, that you can use to broaden your horizons.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure.
I would say the same for the film side as well. Almost the same thing. There's fancy cameras, but if your film needs to be created with a phone or any, you know, the best camera is the one you've got, right? So I wouldn't let that hold you back, especially on the film side. Film is a great opportunity to evoke emotion through the editing of time and music. And anyway, I think that it's a good opportunity to not hold yourself back, to explore different ways to evoke emotion. So I'm not a big stickler for what gear you used or equipment or anything like that. I'm looking for feeling. What emotional value does your film have? even if it's a 30-second, like fake commercial or, a music video or whatever you end up submitting. I like that emotional value way more than technical. Like I can forgive a technical shortcoming if I feel something from your film.
Equipment is utilitarian. It's a means to an end, and you sometimes need certain equipment to achieve certain goals, but it's always a means to an end. And you just, like Will said, you have to use what you got, and that sometimes is an iPhone, sometimes it's a super duper califragilistic long lens or something that you borrow from the locker at school or whatever, that you try it out. It's all about exploration and having fun, but always using equipment as a means to an end, not the end. Shouldn't be what you're talking about. You're talking about the content and what you're trying to create with it.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Sure.
All right. Okay, participants, do we have any other questions? Anything that's popped up while you've been listening to our fabulous film and photography faculty members?
I don't see any Q&As anymore.
Me neither. I think we got those too. So don't be shy. Again, feel free to email us later, but you have 2 faculty members here right now to answer all those questions.
Can we briefly talk about, what the program looks like, or an overall, kind of, do we have time for that?
Yeah, of course.
Great. So yeah, it's film and photography. So we do split our time fairly evenly, so that you get a good, opportunity to grow in both forms. Even if maybe you're interested more in one, we found many students gravitate, just as much to the other ones once they get to the program. Anyway, we split our time pretty well. We go on field trips so that you can actually practice your craft. We have assignments. We have projects that we collaborate with other disciplines. We go take pictures of other discipline students doing things. And I think the past 3 sessions on the film side, we've done documentaries with the visual arts students. In your applicant guide, you have links toward the top there so you can see our past work. I would recommend checking those out so you can see kind of what we've been up to. And yeah, it's again, it's a holistic approach, but it's really hands-on. We do have a good amount of lecture and curriculum to get through, especially toward the beginning. But then once we do, we kind of really get to work to create work from the beginning to the end. So if you have any questions about what the program looks like or what we do, feel free to ask those as well.
And just piggybacking off of what Will said, if you go to the film and photography applicant guide, under the very first one, program description, there's those links that he mentioned about the film and photography program photos from this past summer, as well as the portfolios from the 2 sessions we had this past summer. And those are available online, again, www.kentuckygsa.org. Any extra bits you wanted to add, James?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm wondering if anybody out there, if they're heading to St. Louis this weekend for the JEA convention. It's a huge national convention for high school students in journalism. I'll be heading there right after this. So if you happen to be coming, I'll be at the Western Kentucky University table, or I'll be out and about on the floor.
Good opportunity to meet you and ask some more questions in person.
Sure.
I think I'll take an opportunity to say one last thing here about the application. We don't expect you guys as applicants to be professionals, and experts in the field. Nor even when you get to the program do we expect that. It's a lifelong journey. And I'm much more interested in helping you develop your craft, and your skills, as opposed to like in some inherent talent you think other people might have. No, a lot of that is just developed over time, through practice and skills. So again, I think we're only a third of the way through the time frame that you have to submit your application. So you still have some time, to go out and shoot some new stuff and maybe write some new stuff on the film side, or just put work in. And again, I would emphasize one of the tips to include work outside of school. We appreciate that you guys have motivation to do work for your classes, but we also do like to see work that maybe you're exploring on your own, because often that lets you align with what you're most interested in. And so, to underline everything that I've kind of said, it's the application and the portfolio is a great way to explore who you are as an artist, and then demonstrate that to us. So we hope that you get as much out of the application, on your side as we do, as the adjudicators.
I agree with Will. We don't expect you to be perfect when you get here, but at the end of the 3 weeks, you need to be perfect. No, just kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's the journey. It's not the work, which ends up being quite nice and some really great work. And I think in transforming, I mean, I think anybody you talk to, and I'm sure you have talked to some of your students, fellow students that went last summer, or, maybe even a couple of summers ago, it is a transforming experience. And rarely are they talking about, and I made this great picture. It might be mentioned, but it's really the experience that they're going to be talking to you about. That's the key.
I agree. And you might even find yourself just can't stop coming back. You'll be on summer staff and then you'll be on GSA admin like me before you know it.
Yeah.
But it really is, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about doing these webinars and the few art form specific ones, the one theme that always comes up is, what unique perspective do you have to bring to add to our community? Because GSA really is such a diverse and beautiful community of artists, and you are unique, and you do have, your own perception of, how you see the world and how you create with that. And so again, I go back to what James said, just do it. Like if you're on the fence about applying, or you're worried that you don't have enough technique or you don't have enough skill yet, just still apply anyway and be proud of yourself for that, because it takes a lot of courage to share your uniqueness with the world, but we'll take it. So apply here. All right, well, we do have a few more minutes scheduled if you have some questions. If not, I don't know that I need to keep us here much longer unless there's any final bits of info that James or Will would like to throw out there.
Just hope to see your work soon.
Indeed. All right, well, I guess we will call that a wrap then. I just want to say thank you again to James and Will. I appreciate you being here with us tonight and sharing your advice and tips. And I am very enthusiastic that we will have some great applications in every art form, but I'm excited to see what comes from film and photography. And again, to all my participants out there, if you have any questions that pop up or you just weren't feeling comfortable asking for whatever reason, feel free to give us a call at GSA or send us an email and we'll get back to you. And we're sending you positive vibes and just wishing you luck, and can't wait to see your application.
Cool. Thanks,
Awesome.
Dean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks, everyone.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Good luck, everyone.